I can remember as a kid, I felt like that I had an advantage in ways because fundamentals were his key to everything we did, regardless of being sports. Cleaning the garage, doing whatever we had to do. If he didn't do it right, you might as well not do it at all. Anything he described was always with examples, or he would grab you and say, come over here and, put you a certain way and show you how to maybe how to box out somebody or do something. It was always hands-on.
We've always been a team. We were always a team right from the time we were little, and that goes back to some of the things my brothers said about everything you did was a lesson, or you were being taught, whether it was if you were going to learn how to box out on the basketball court or you were going to learn how to paint the steps out by the garage. But we all saw that, and we were a team from the get-go, and we teach our kids to do everything the right way too.
I think Don and I have always had a little bit of a strong bond. The fact that we both grew up as farmers, we've talked about it quite often, and I think the values that we grew up and having to work hard just to survive, work hard and good things will happen. And he saw the same things. He pushed the same kind of attitudes on not only his own kids but his grandkids, and that carried him through in a lot of different ways.
My daughters were both very good athletes, and I'm bragging about them. And Lori was, you got to brag about her a little. She was the first team county in basketball, and the highest scorer in soccer. And then Kimmy came along, and she had quite a career. So Kimmy's team took the sectionals in soccer. They won the sectionals in basketball for the first time ever, the girls, and the only time still, I guess. And I tried to keep the girls right on the same level as the boys, and I didn't have to work at it because they were natural. They wanted to play, and in fact, I got the nickname somewhere along the line as Haas. My coaches said that. They said I had all the horses. That's why I won all the time, and so they started calling me Haas. And when the girls won the sectionals, I'm going to get a little emotional now, Kimmy won the name Little Haas. That's what you had on there. So the girls were right there with the boys. Very proud of my children.
It all came about starting at junior high, I think, and with a group of friends and group of kids that I was with, and we kind of came up as a unit, and there was 11, 12 strong players that had a strong bond with each other, and I think that was a huge reason for the success that we had. I think just the camaraderie with the team was the first thing. We've been a group together and ended up winning it together. But as I get older and I think back and think about those times, I think about how special that was, to have my father be my coach, that I gave Dad another championship with one of his sons. And I know that meant a lot to him. And Dad always had a canny way. He knew every play of every game. And if you ever talk to Dad, he can go back, and if it was an important game, he can go step by step and tell you exactly what happened during those games, the game that when you played North Rose or when you played Williamson. To this day, I can't remember. I can remember important things that seemed important to me at the time, but I can't take you through a whole game.
Well, what I can tell you about the season, we had a great leader on the team, I think, that pulled us through that year, only because if you could do half what this guy could do, Tim McIntyre, which a lot of people know, he was quite the example for the team. But, I can remember my father all season trying to maneuver the team so that we could get in a winning position. It was hustle, it was guts, it was beating everybody to the ball. It was, not one of his most skilled teams, but we probably had as much heart or more than any team. When we got done with that game, we went into, I think, three overtimes and sudden death and ended up tying. And, when the game was over, we could hardly drag ourselves off the field. We were so tired. And I think after that game, he brought us all in and told us how proud he was of us. And, he just couldn't show enough thanks and how hard we worked. And even though we didn't win it, it was a hell of a journey for all of us. And he was just proud of the whole team.
If you can walk off the field and say, I've done my best, winning will come along, and we don't have to say we have to win. And winning is important, but it's not the ultimate. If you play the game the way it should be played, and you play as a team, we're going to be successful. And that's something they all had in common. I think they worked for that. The one probably most likely to win, I thought, was the 2005 team, except we were playing a team that was like a prep school for a university, Keough Academy, and they were known as a powerhouse in Class C. They had beaten some of the AA schools, and we knew we were up against it. And the night before, when they had the assembly for all of us, all the teams there, they were the ones most likely to win the state, and that statement was made. And I remember our boys sat there, and I looked across to see their reaction, and they were just sort of smiling. I come back to the motel, and Earl Sharkey is coming down the hall. Coach, he said, did you hear the good news? The good news. And I'm thinking, oh boy, maybe we got Marathon. He said, we get to play Keough. He said, they beat Marathon badly. He said, we get to play them now. I said, okay, Earl, let's go get them. And that's the way Earl was. And that's the way the whole team felt. I think you felt you could beat that team. And we went out, and it was a great setup because Hanan, I think he was going to probably get a head ball, and he skipped it back, and JR caught a half volley on the bounce. And I mean, it was a rocket. The keeper still was wondering where it came from. I remember the second goal that Jeremy Marks scored. And when he got the ball and collected it about midfield, I had a feeling that he was going to get the goal. And my biggest concern was Steve Lang was very fast, and they called him the train. And he got offsides a few times in the game, I think 2 or 3. In fact, after the game, he said, they called me Mr. Offsides. And Steve stayed onside, and Jeremy carried the ball toward the left side of the goal, and he pushed it into the far post and iced the game for us. And so that was a big one for us. Not about Burgess's team. Burgess was such a great kid. He'd do anything you asked him to do as a coach. He was very coachable. But I'll never forget what Burge said to me, and I'm sure he doesn't mind me using this because it's very emotional. He was the last one to leave the locker room. And he knew I was apprehensive because we'd been up and down some, but we had a great playoff in the States. And I remember he said, put his hand on my knee, he says, Coach, we're going to win this for you because we love you. That's what he said. I couldn't hardly walk out of there. But I did, and we won. So that was that story. That was the least likely team, I think. And I think that team would agree to that. But they had the heart, and they wanted to win it. Yeah, I guess the thing that I wanted you to take with you is to use what we learned in sports and to be a good person and learn to accept defeat and learn to accept heartache. You're going to have heartaches. It's going to be more than losing a ball game, I used to tell you. You're going to lose loved ones. You're going to be hurt. And this is going to take a little of the edge off when you learn how to get up and go again and pull your bootstraps up the next game. After a person beats you, you're going to look them in the eye and congratulate them. You're going to accept that they beat you. But the next time they come back, you're going to say, we're going to get back to you. And my dad used to say, any job doing is worth doing well. I guess it's to have you be able to lead a more productive life and things like that. Just the way that you're going to live your life and to be a good person. I want you to learn that. And that's the way life should be.
I think back, I coach now, so it makes me appreciate what he has done, and he's a role model. He's my hero. I just tell him thank you for everything you've done for me. I love you. This was a great journey that I had with you growing up through, and to this day, I thank him for everything that he's done for me. I appreciate you more than life itself. definitely made me a better player, a better coach with the ability that I can coach. So what I wanted to say was thank you, Dad.
You know, I've seen him coach. I've worked with him a little bit coaching. We talk about coaching and his teams a lot, and he's got a wealth of experience. It's just amazing how much experience the guy has had and what he's gone through and what he does remember and then can turn around and offer to the next group coming through, and it's just amazing.
I'm so fortunate to be able to keep track of him. He's my dad. He's my hero too. Sometimes I don't agree with him, and sometimes he doesn't agree with me, but every day I'm thankful I have my dad. I'm who I am because of my dad.
You know, at the time, and like I think Dan was talking about, you don't appreciate kind of what you have when you grow up with it. You know, I think a lot of it came right down to my father always striving to win, always finding another way to make it work, always the example and what he did for our family is he made us winners. I think you look at what we've all accomplished and you look at our families, and we've all done it in a different way, but there's nothing that I can't be more proud for what my siblings have done and where they are in life and what we've all done. I don't think any of us do anything what he used to call half-assed. And he drilled that into our heads, that if you're going to do it, then do it right. So I think that was a big building block for all of us. Dad means the world to me. You know, I've never known him any different than what I know of the guy today. His heart's as big as this gymnasium. There's nothing that he doesn't care about when it comes to people. But, you know, I got to thank him for all he's given me. I think he just set us on the right track in life to have wonderful families ourselves. So what I want to say is thank you, Dad.
Don doesn't ask for respect. He kind of demands it. His best friend was my college coach, Don's best friend. Then I realized his daughter was on the female team at college. And I put up a big sacrifice to marry his daughter to get Don to come coach with me. See, people didn't look into that ploy way before I did. I was pretty smart. I'm the high school varsity coach at Cincinnatus. He's been coming down for the last 9 seasons. He's changed our whole program down there. We didn't get a sectional championship for 30 years, and we've accumulated 136 wins and 32 losses and 3 ties. We've been to the States twice. We've won regionals, 7 consecutive league titles, and 3 out of the last 4 sectional championships. So it tells you what he does to a program.
And they see him, because he is an older coach when he comes down. A lot of them see him as a father figure.
Father figure.
They probably tell him more things sometimes than they tell Gordy. You know, and he has a different role with the boys. Even though he'll get out on the field and defense is his thing, and you know he'll get out there and coach, and but they respect him very much,
and the belief that he makes kids feel. He makes them feel like they can do it. Before they went out there to play, and they played the sport, but they didn't believe they could win. And when he's around you, that presence tells you can win. And they believe in him, and I believe in him. He's just a guy you have to respect. With what he's accomplished, you have to respect it. Dad, thank you so much.
Thanks, Dad.
Thank you, Dad.
Thank you, Dad.
Thanks, Don.
Thanks, Dad.
If you could say one thing.
Yeah. If I could say one thing, I would say to these people, thank you for adding to my blessings. It's been a great career for me, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. And it's just, you all made it, my players, the community, my family. You all made my life a joy. And I take that with me. Many times I reminisce, and the thought always goes back to my players. Every award I've ever received, and I've received more than my share, is like I said to my wife, the first award I got in Oklahoma, I broke down. I said, I wish all my kids that got this award could be here. They're the ones that deserve this award, and that's the way I feel. And that's what I would say, that I'm very grateful for my life, and I'm very grateful to God.